Copolymer is kind of a term that a lot of people hear. They don't really understand. There's quite a few companies making copolymers. They've never really gotten real popular for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Personally, I fish gamma leaders across the board. The copolymer is basically a mono, so you're still going to get stretch. And then there's a fluoro on the outside of that that's kind of going to help disperse the light. So it's sort of taking the idea of fluorocarbon and making the line less visible to fish and adding it on top of a mono. Um, Generally speaking, I fish fluorocarbons, straight presentations, drops, jigs, things of that nature. If I'm in more open water or if I need more abrasion resistance, then I'll go to the copolymer. It allows a little bit of stretch in the line, which makes it a little bit easier to make sure you land fish. You don't pull hook so much. And then additionally, just by its very nature, copolymers tend to be a little bit more abrasion resistant. Fluoro's a fantastic product, but it is a little bit more sensitive to abrasion than a copolymer or a mono. We've kind of gotten away from monos and copolymers. We've gotten into a lot of fluorocarbons, and it's become a very catchy buzz phrase. Everybody thinks you have to fish fluorocarbon 24/7. I personally do not believe that in any way, shape, or form. If you're using cork poppers, especially, I don't know if you guys do a lot of that kind of fishing where you're at, but I would fish a copolymer leader personally with poppers. It's a top water bite. It's a violent strike. Generally speaking, you have a little bit stiffer rod with a little bit softer tip section. That's taking away some of your give to the fish. I think a lot of guys lose fish because they fish tackle that's a little bit too heavy, a little too stiff, and it doesn't allow them to play back. I see a lot of videos online. Guys are fishing, they're catching 20, 30-pound fish and the rod's barely bending except for maybe the last 2 or 3 eyes. And I want to bow to that fish a lot more. All I care about is keeping the hook in them. I don't care how fast I get them in the boat. I just want the hook to stay in them. Otherwise, I'm going to lose them. We had talked a little bit about gamma. Just for anybody that doesn't know, that's where the extrusion comment came from. You were talking about earlier. It's not extruding in braid, it's extruding in fluorocarbons and monos. That you can choose the resins you use. That's step one in quality. Step two in quality is your processing and your diameters that you pick. We've all fished the Berkeley Trilene big game off the shelf at Walmart. There's nothing wrong with it. If you were to measure that line per its pound rating, you would find that it's pretty thick compared to what it's rated at. A 14-pound line generally measures out at what most people would call the diameter of about a 16, maybe even a 20 in some cases. The way Gamma is able to keep their line above everyone else's, once again, post-processing, they take their line and they have a treatment where they run it through, they heat it and cool it at different temperatures. And what that does is realigns the molecules inside the line so that it gets them in more of a honeycomb sort of design. When you extrude a line, you have your resins, and then you pull the line out of the system. And when you pull it, whatever diameter you pull it to and whatever length you pull it to dictates diameter, which dictates tensile. The resins assist in that tensile strength, but let's assume all things being equal, everybody's picking the highest quality resins. Once you're done with that, that can cool at any particular design it wants to. So the molecules may align a little bit differently, and you may have a line that, depending on how that molecular cooling happened, you may get a small nick on the top, but that nick has actually damaged the strength of the line 3/4 of the way through. Gamma's post processes put those molecules in more of a honeycomb design. So when you get a nick, it's as deep as the nick. It's not all the way through the line. And I've just found through trial and error that the line is just stronger overall. And like I was telling you, David, I've had people that I tell that to, and they claim hocus pocus till I remind them that the Japanese have been doing it with steel for 5,000 years. It's not a new process. Once again, the aligning of molecules through heat and cold, whether somebody knew how they were doing or what exactly they were doing that caused it in the first place, is irrelevant. The point is the end result is a more abrasion resistant, stronger line that you're going to land more fish with, period, in the story. So when I combine, like I said, I consider myself extremely lucky. I work with fins and I work with Gamma, and between the two of them, I think they build the best lines in the business, bar none. And once again, not to beat a dead horse, but you've got $500 in a fishing rod and $400 in fuel, boat payment, whatever the case may be, harbor storage, dock storage, marina slip. Let's not spend the least amount of money on the only thing that connects us with the line, with the fish. Let's go ahead and buy quality line, right? And then you make sure you land more fish.